Welcome back to Your Health Matters. My guest today is Shelly Rodriguez. She's the new Breast Health Navigator. Did I say that right, Shelly?
Yes, yes.
Here at Kingman Regional, brand a month into the position, but I'm really excited you're on the show because this is such a great new program that we've started here. Now, Breast Health Navigator, share with us again what you do, what that means.
Well, it's a new position actually that's starting to find its way around to different states and everywhere. What it is we will follow a woman, not only women, but there are a couple of men actually too, that there are not a couple men, but there are men that do get diagnosed with breast cancer. So any breast cancer patients, or even in the process before they get diagnosed with breast cancer, I will help them, follow them through the whole diagnosis, from diagnostic mammogram to I can be there during their biopsies, to their diagnosis or their a negative diagnosis, which would be great. But if they are positive, we get on the phone, let their primary care know what's going on. We make sure that their appointments are made in a timely manner, whether it be with a surgeon or an oncologist or wherever they go next. We make sure that it's done fast.
Okay, because that is the biggest part.
The biggest part is getting their care quick, as soon as possible. Yeah.
So now, how do you connect? Like I go in for my yearly mammogram. How do they know? Do the radiologists contact you and say, we have a woman that we're going to need to share this with? Will you be there when they tell her?
I'm over in the imaging center half of the day, and if I'm available there at the moment and a woman gets a mammogram, the doctor looks at it right away. And if there's something suspicious that he thinks needs to follow up with a diagnostic mammogram, he will let the techs know right away. And then he sits down with the women in my office, and we all talk about what the diagnostic mammogram is about, and they get that done. And then if they find something on the diagnostic to follow up with, it usually goes from there to a biopsy. Okay. And if I'm over there at the time too, the doctor will talk to them in my office, either way, if I'm there or not available, and explains to them what they need to do with the biopsy. It might be an ultrasound biopsy. There's a stereotactic machine we have that is amazing. It beats having a lumpectomy, which a lot of people will, instead of having half their breast removed to see if this spot is something suspicious, they can just have a little biopsy, which is much easier for the patient.
Sure.
And
then sometimes it is benign and there isn't any reason.
And then you don't have to have the scars and all the trauma. And so I'm there with the patients through all that process. And then if it becomes the doctor, if I'm not available, then they leave me the patient's name and all their information on my desk in a private area, and then I contact them and make sure that they're scheduled and everything gets done soon.
And so then the next steps, so we go through all of those diagnostic steps and then find out, it is the big C. As scary as that is, and then what's next? What is a woman's options at that point?
Well, I make sure that their primary care knows right away, so that, because a lot of times the women will call me and say, I'm waiting for the results, I haven't got the results, and they're anxious. So regardless of the results, I'll contact their primary care and let them know right away what we've found out, and tell them that the lady's anxious and to get them in as soon as possible. And once I know she has an appointment, I tell her, just give me a call as soon as you see your primary care. And then she'll call me, and then I'll tell her, if it's cancer, that I am there for the whole process. And depending on where her doctor sends her next, I follow through. If it's to the oncology center, then I contact them and say, look, we have a patient that's coming over, we need to get her in as soon as possible. Or if it's to a surgeon, I call them up and say, let's get her in as soon as possible. And
and a lot of that depends on, obviously, the severity, the size. I mean, there's a lot of different things that will impact whether they're going to go to surgery first or to chemo and radiation first. I mean,
yeah, some patients have to have radiation prior to getting surgery. So it it is important to see an oncologist, and they can determine whether they need surgery first or radiation first, and
Okay.
that's always
And then,
important.
so like the chemo, how long, and again, I know each case is different, obviously, but if you go through chemo, what is the normal, is there a normal process, how long that takes?
You know, yeah, that all varies.
Okay.
But I even make stops in the cancer center because I'm over there the second half of the day. So I always check on the patients and see how they're doing. And,
Great.
and,
So you develop a relationship with them. And
that's
great.
that's what I'm hoping to do, is just to become like a mouse in their pocket. You know,
Yeah.
anytime they need me, just pull me out and I'm there.
Very
I know I
good.
can't be there for everything, but I'm going to try to
but
be.
that's great.
Yeah.
Now, we talked earlier, too, that a lot of, another part of your job is outreach. And that's going out in the community and educating women about the importance of having a mammogram, right? And so what kind of programs are you envisioning? I know it's brand new, and so you're just starting to plan.
Yeah, I have actually been talking to a few different places. We're gonna, like Peach Springs, Truxton, Seligman, or not Seligman, but
Valentine,
Valentine,
Hackberry,
yeah,
that
all
way.
the way to all Chloride and all those areas. We're gonna try to get out in the community, either to the schools or the businesses or anywhere I can get in if they have
Sure.
a special program going on. Just kind of pop in and.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but community centers popped into my head when you were talking about. I know that like out in Meadview and Dolan Springs, they have a community center where they have kind of ongoing programs and stuff. So I bet we could get you in there to talk.
Yeah, I'm trying to find different areas of
Sure.
places to go, and that's the hardest part for me. I don't know all the underlying community activities that they have. So I'm going to start looking and trying to find out all that
Make
so
some
I can
point
get
of
my
contacts and let them know you're
and
available.
then once they get used to me, they'll probably hopefully call me and say, hey, we got this going on, would you like to come out?
Sure.
And Dr. Johansson and some people from the imaging center, like Sean, the manager, they want to come with me and
Oh, super.
and talk and do different things. And even Dr. Nagel said she would do little talks with me. It just depends on their time because they're all so busy.
Right, right. Well, that's great, though, because it is, like we've talked about earlier, it's education and letting women know, and the sooner they get in, the better their chances are for survival and getting it treated quickly.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to think of other ideas in my own head for outreach, but I want to encourage, I guess, the audience that's watching today that if they have input, maybe they know some friends in outlying areas that they could call you and provide that information, or if they have questions about the program, what number, how would they reach you?
Well, I have a number that is here at Kingman Regional, and it's 928-263-05. Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
then
that goes right
that
to
goes
you.
right to my office.
Okay.
And I have a voicemail. If I'm
Okay.
not there, I always try to return every call.
Good, that's
So-
good, that's important. And I was just thinking that I know people that watch this show probably know other people who, might know other people who live in those areas that
Yes,
can
that
get
would be
that
great.
information too. Because when you're new, it's a new program.
Yeah, and another thing, a lot of people don't realize that just getting the mammogram may be a costly thing that they can't afford. But also women that get diagnosed, sometimes they don't have good insurance or underinsured. And there are programs out there that will help them during the chemo, the radiation, and they actually have fundings for women that can't afford all that also.
I was just, when you said that, it dawned on me how it's typical when you don't have insurance and you think, oh, I'll put it off. But then the other side is, well, what if it's positive and I don't have insurance, and what do I do?
Yeah,
So it's
there's-
great to know there's programs out there.
Yes, and there's a lot of community places here, community organizations in Kingman itself that actually helps people, if they have, say, they have to go get a prescription for their cancer and they can't afford all of it, or there's a lot of different programs out there that can help women and men that people aren't even aware of.
Right. Well,
you
the
know.
Kingman Cancer Care Unit, which is a local not-for-profit, and that's all about supporting patients. I know they're great with our patients, whether
Yeah.
it's wigs.
That's what I was thinking of,
what's it-
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay to talk
they're
about them.
great.
I mean, just the wigs, they help with transportation. I know in the
Yes.
past they've even helped with folks who couldn't pay their utility bills because they had such, couldn't work because of their treatment. So,
Well, transportation's a big thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, because speaking with Joe, the social worker over there, he was saying that a lot of these patients just don't have the transportation or the ability to get in for their appointments, and we can provide that or give them information.
Super. Well,
Yes.
I'm sure that people are going to have a lot of questions, so let's remind them again. Your phone number, it's 263
3905.
3905. It's been great having Shelly on the program today. If you guys have questions, give her a call. We'll have another great guest next week on our program, so I hope you'll stay tuned for that one.